Hi, this is Mary, Anna, and BJ for the social marketing plan of the NEVR campaign, Awareness About Intimate Partner Violence. And this is for 5610, Practice and Praxis. So what is violence, and specifically what are we focusing on? So domestic violence is what our focus was, and the literature and statistics that we found state that by changing attitudes regarding gender inequality and violence, there's the potential to break the cycle of domestic violence. The Government of Australia states that targeting awareness campaigns to children and youth are important due to the following. Young women are at high risk for experiencing violence and assault. The highest rate of sexual assault offenders is amongst young men between the ages of 21 to 25 years old. Adolescents and young adulthood are at a critical time period to disrupt negative attitudes, beliefs, and behaviors to prevent violent behaviors before they become problematic. Focusing on young men and women prevents the potential for intergenerational transmission of violence. So, what does domestic violence, have to do with our social media and marketing campaign? So, we work with the NEVR program, so the Network to Eliminate Relationship Violence in the community, with the community itself and the academic stakeholders that are committed to increasing awareness of violence in relationships and working together to find practical solutions. Specifically, the purpose of NEVR is as follows. The purpose of NEVR is to work towards reducing, eliminating violence in relationships in the Surrey, North Delta, White Rock area, British Columbia, through coordinated, open, and seamless service delivery, collaborating, sharing of resources among service providers, community leaders, educators, and government bodies. So, what does the literature say about domestic violence awareness and how we can put forth the education and the support that's needed to share with the community members as stakeholders? So the mass media campaigns can work in order to change direct and indirect pathways to change the behavior of the whole populations. It is said that in order to change attitudes regarding violence towards women, number one, attitudes play a role in violence against women in three domains: the perpetrator of the violence, the individual, and the institutional response to violence against women, and our own response to victimization, and the women's own response to victimization. Attitudes towards violence against women are formed by a wide range of social processes at multiple levels of the social order. Key influences on attitude at multiple levels include gender roles and relations and other forms of social difference, association with ethnicity and class. Further factors documented to shape attitudes towards violence against women at the individual level include experiencing or witnessing violence at the age of development. At the organizational level, they include participation in violence, supportive contexts, whereas at the community level, they include participation in informal peer groups and networks. So what was the goal of our project, and how are you going to put forth awareness and education about domestic violence and how to prevent it? So our group's project intends to focus on domestic violence, primary prevention intervention, specifically targeting children and youth. This project strives towards breaking the intergenerational cycle of abuse and violence and transforming the attitudes of children and youth regarding violence. We plan on researching effective global domestic violence campaign programs in order to provide our group with a model framework. We plan to work and collaborate with ongoing projects of NEVR. The group also plans to going to various social media platforms to engage and disseminate NEVR program information to the public, and we also plan on creating a social media plan to assist the social media subcommittee in continuing their violence prevention awareness for the future. So when we looked at the target audience, we started with the general population and the NEVR program and its community stakeholders who are focusing specifically, and our focus was specifically on the children and youth in Surrey, North Delta, and the White Rock area. So what are the products that we came up with in order to bring awareness is the blog of WordPress, which allows for any individual or organization to create and post journal entries. The NEVR organization has launched a WordPress blog that encompasses the campaign's mission, purpose, scope, and as well as ongoing surrounding information, its movement, progress, focus, goals, and achievements. The blog also anchors the campaign social media platform to the homepage, displaying its Twitter and Facebook updates, providing a direct link to these platforms. The nice thing about the website of WordPress is that it's not directly associated with Kotlin, because if you go into a worldwide search engine like Google or Yahoo, the NEVR program does not specifically come up. And because now it's on WordPress, if you look up the NEVR program, it does come up as its own individual site rather than being hidden within the Kotlin URL and having to search it out through Kotlin. So that's a plus side of having the website blog of WordPress. Other products that came out of our group were the skit and play, the two-part play that will be held at the North Delta Secondary School, where the actual members of the community have an actual experience with their allocated roles to play the skit, which demonstrates the act of violence in relationships and the process of reporting the domestic violence. And then the second part of the play allows the audience to engage with actors, players, allowing the audience to make comments, ask questions, and provide insight towards perceptions, emotions, and feelings. Other things we came out with are the teen safety cards. What ended up happening with this portion of targeting the youth and adolescents of Surrey was that we felt that the educators needed a piece in which they could actually answer questions as well on violence awareness. So some of the things that came out were the teen safety cards, what was going to go on them, some information and education for the educator, a crossword contest, and also an art and poetry contest, which I'll continue to talk about. So the wallet-sized cards are distributed to students. That includes local domestic violence program resources, interesting statistics on violence, and brief graphic on safe and loving relationships. If you see here, we have some examples of what love is, what love isn't, and what safe relationships are and what unsafe relationships are. They also came up with a crossword puzzle that provides students with an opportunity to complete the crossword puzzle and submit their answers for a prize. The contest of the crossword will contain information and education surrounding environment, violence and relationships, as well as resources on loving relationship characteristics. Students can pick up the crossword in the morning, possibly from the library or any other central location, and turn it in at lunch or at the end of the day to receive a prize. And then, as mentioned before, there's also the poetry and our essay contest that will be integrated into the educator package that they can disseminate to the students. They have an opportunity to use their creative skills to produce art, poetry, and our essay that pertains to violence and relationships. What is love? What love isn't? How violence can be diffused, and where to get help. And the advertising for youth to enter the NEVR contest, where students commit their art, their writings, or their poetry, will be inside the educator package. And then finally, for the younger generation, it was brought about that an electronic quilt would be a good way of trying to involve the younger youth. So the goal of the contest is to help elementary school age children engage in identifying and being aware of characteristics of healthy and safe relationships. The goal of the contest is for each member of the class to contribute to the construction of a safe relationship quilt.